Welcome back. Word has just come down that Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. We thank him for his service to the network and host of the prior contributor. Wave.
Like, he used him as his puppet, and it exposed what many of us have been saying about Tucker Carlson. He's a Kremlin puppet who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
It's just such a disgrace, I think, to our country that an American would give him any kind of platform to propagandize.
Wait. If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I think Sonny's dumb. But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly.
Joe Rogan just cracked open the gates of media mayhem, and Whoopi Goldberg might want to log off for the foreseeable future. What began as Tucker Carlson launching a $100 million defamation lawsuit turned into a spectacle of cosmic proportions, complete with Rogan flying in like a philosophical WWE wrestler with a mic in one hand and a legal dictionary in the other. As Whoopi clutched her pearls and clung to daytime relevance, Rogan unleashed the verbal equivalent of a tactical nuke. And suddenly the internet went from a simmer to a full-on boil. What did Rogan say? Why is Whoopi trending for all the wrong reasons? And how did this daytime debate morph into a defamation deathmatch? Buckle up. This isn't just drama. It's a satirical symphony of ego, outrage, and accidental comedy gold.
They're disgusting. She's Anna Navarro in your wildest imagination. You could never solo host a show. You will only ever make it as part of an ensemble, and you could never hope to achieve the success that Tucker Carlson has. So you can sit in your little cheap seats all day long and enjoy your little negative henpecking, but your careers are going nowhere, and Tucker is about to dominate in whatever space.
Enter The View, America's favorite coven of televised indignation, where political commentary collides with performance art in an estrogen-fueled whirlwind of finger-pointing and self-congratulation. Gathered around their sacred coffee chalices, the panelists prepare to dissect world events with the precision of a BuzzFeed personality quiz. And who better to lead the charge than Whoopi Goldberg, beloved for her role in Sister Act, infamous for defending Roman Polanski, and now self-appointed gatekeeper of constitutional morality. If Aristotle had a migraine and turned on daytime TV, this is what he'd find. Righteousness on tap and fact-checking left on the cutting room floor.
Whoopi Goldberg said?
What'd she say?
Whoopi Goldberg said that Biden could arrest all the Republicans and put them in jail. You just need to see how unhinged this kind of thinking is. Well, you know what Joe Biden could do? Joe Biden, you have to see it, because it's so
on TV,
crazy.
she said
on television.
You know, just let's look at a scenario where the Supreme Court says, yes, he has all those rights. He is immune from everything. Yeah. You know what Joe Biden could do since he is presently president? What? Whoa. He could throw
The discussion, or whatever you call a verbal bar fight with cameras, was supposed to touch on Tucker Carlson's recent hot takes about border chaos, Ukraine, and possibly Area 51, depending on how apocalyptic his last monologue felt. But within seconds, it spiraled faster than Joy Bihar's eyeliner in a heatwave. Whoopi, wielding legal knowledge reminiscent of a horoscope app, declared that Carlson wasn't just wrong, he was an existential threat to the Republic. Code red, DFCON1. According to Whoopi, disagreeing with The View isn't a difference of opinion. It's basically an act of domestic terrorism. Apparently, citing the Constitution is now grounds for arrest if you do it with a tone she doesn't like.
If I may, I'm amazed at the level of self-projection going on here. I mean, Alicia, you work for ABC, Tucker works for himself. Objectively, you are a puppet and he's not. And Sonny, you're basically saying that Tucker shouldn't be allowed to have a voice. That's the opposite of the democracy that you preach every time we are here. And finally, none of you had any examples on what Tucker has said that was a lie or propaganda. But I'm too nice, so I will give you another chance. Give me some specific examples to back your claims. Let's go.
And of course, the rest of the panel couldn't resist the siren call of sanctimony. Joy Behar, eager to play deputy in this fantasy courtroom, labeled Carlson public enemy number one with all the nuance of a motivational quote on a wine tumbler. Sonny Hostin followed, swinging the gavel of justice like someone who just discovered Wikipedia. What was meant to be a discussion turned into a kangaroo court drenched in caffeine and chaos, with each panelist tripping over the next to deliver the spiciest condemnation. Forget discourse, this was daytime drama dressed up as democracy. And somewhere between the latte sips and shouty sound bites, the line between opinion and accusation evaporated.
The fans, the real fans of The View that are like, oh, these ladies are on point. Most of those people can't leave the house. Like, they're probably immobile.
Right. Because their mom's taking their kids to school, and that's, yeah.
It's a very strange show, but it's fun to watch. It's just fun to watch them.
It's good entertainment.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
Well, they're just, it's interesting because I think Sunny is very intelligent, but she's ideologically captured.
Right.
That's sort of, I think the other ones, there's a couple of the other ones, don't have to name any names, are just very dull-minded.
While The View was busy combusting live on air, Twitter erupted like it had been force-fed a gallon of espresso. Memes flew faster than Whoopi could say, allegedly. Supporters of Carlson didn't just clutch their pearls, they filed them into legal daggers. Lawyers, real and pretend, stormed the digital courtroom with fury. To some, it was classic Whoopi, loud, smug, and blissfully unconcerned with the legal implications of her mouth. Others raised eyebrows higher than Sonny Hostin's latest Botox attempt. The concern, that Whoopi's rant might not just be unhinged, it might be legally actionable. When you go on national TV and call someone a criminal without evidence, you're not speaking truth to power, you're inviting a lawsuit. And that's exactly what Tucker Carlson's team of Fox News-educated sharks began assembling with glee.
In fairness, though, I mean, The View has to be, if you average out The View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And so it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I don't think some of them are dumb.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Sunny Hostin's
You think it's
dumb.
deliberate?
I think she's ideologically driven, and they have blinders on, for sure. I don't think Sonny's dumb. But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it and just...
Suddenly, the stage was set for one of the wildest defamation suits in TV history. Tucker Carlson, armed with a legal team and a vengeance colder than Megyn Kelly's side eye, filed a $100 million complaint dripping with allegations of slander and reputational evisceration. And then, because the universe craved more chaos, Joe Rogan waltzed in like a bald oracle of truth wearing flip-flops and carrying a flamethrower. Rogan torched The View like a comic roasting a retirement home staff meeting. He mocked the panel's attempt at legal analysis as if they were boomers role-playing as constitutional scholars. According to Rogan, listening to Whoopi talk law is like watching someone try to explain Wi-Fi to a toaster. And America loved it. The memes, the roasts, the takedowns, it was a digital field day. Carlson had dropped a legal bomb, but Rogan turned it into a roast session for the ages.
Question is then, is that representative of a big constituency? I think probably yes.
Well, a lot of
MSNBC viewers are probably also thinking,
I don't even think the MSNBC viewers. I think
that's
they're a
too
little
far.
bit more sophisticated than that.
Yeah.
This is like low information, blue no matter who, like older housewives who are mad at the world. That's the appeal that Whoopi Goldberg has. Does Whoopi have children?
No idea.
It's interesting too, like really politically motivated older women who don't have children.
Yeah.
They're very specific. Like you can kind of guess the way they.
In a plot twist worthy of Succession, The View's cozy coffee clatch morphed into a courtroom melodrama. Carlson didn't just sue, he detonated a legal warhead. His complaint accused the panelists of conducting a live television hit job, complete with defamation, character assassination, and intellectual malpractice. The tone wasn't playful, sarcastic, or even vaguely editorial. It was pure condemnation with a studio audience. Joy Behar labeled Carlson a threat like she was ordering from a menu of insults, and Whoopi's calls for arrest weren't theoretical. They were presented with the gravity of a Supreme Court decision read by a woman wearing sneakers. Carlson's team argued that these weren't opinions. They were televised executions of character, with no disclaimers, no filters, and no journalistic cushion. It wasn't just a PR problem. It was potentially a legal landslide.
Ladies try to deplatform me all the time. I think they should be deplatformed. I think the best way to counter bad opinions is with good.
Carlson's lawsuit claims the damages go far beyond bruised ego. From professional losses to personal threats, he says The View turned his public image into a piñata and everyone got a swing. And when national TV tells millions that someone should be handcuffed for talking too much, it turns out courts might want receipts. Meanwhile, media reactions split like Whoopi's wig under stage lights. Some said Carlson was a snowflake in a suit. Others whispered that The View might have finally outraged themselves into actual legal trouble. And then there was Rogan, charging back into the discourse with flamethrower sarcasm. He mocked Whoopi's grasp of law like it was a bad SNL sketch. Watching her talk legal strategy is like watching a dog try to recite Hamlet, he quipped. According to Rogan, The View isn't a panel. It's a demolition derby where logic goes to die and opinions crash like shopping carts.
The show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching and hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean, it is a rabies infested hen house.
For once, the internet found something approaching bipartisan unity. Rogan on his podcast didn't just dip into the topic, he cannonballed in like a philosopher brawler with nothing to lose. Between elk jerky and UFO theories, he served up a scorched earth takedown of Whoopi and company. So now Whoopi's the oracle of justice, he asked, eyes wide with Fogg's reverence. Apparently, the fate of democracy hinges on how many outlets she's had. He mocked their trademark outrage, calling The View a daytime Emmys audition for women who yell at clouds. But Rogan wasn't just joking. He stood up for Carlson, not because he's a fan, but because free speech matters. If yelling "arrest him" becomes normal, he warned, comedians and podcasters are next. His message was clear. This isn't about Carlson. It's about his closing act, a comedic execution so brutal it should come with a viewer discretion warning. He squinted, mimicked Whoopi's grimace, and deadpanned. Next week on The View, arrest Joe Rogan for having muscles and a podcast. The studio audience and the internet erupted. Whoopi predictably responded on air with the shaky confidence of someone reading a speech written by a fortune cookie. Her rebuttal was part sass, part fog, and entirely ineffective. A shrug wrapped in self-importance, garnished with "because I'm on TV." But the internet wasn't buying it. Social media lit her up like a Christmas tree powered by righteous snark. Ratings dipped, memes multiplied, producers side-eyed the panic button. What started as performative outrage turned into a masterclass in how not to handle media backlash. Rogan didn't just criticize The View, he reframed the entire fiasco. This wasn't right versus left. This was reality versus daytime delusion. In the final act of this absurd drama, Rogan wasn't just the narrator, he was the scalpel dissecting the bloated corpse of daytime TV hypocrisy. And The View? They were left scrambling for dignity somewhere between the teleprompter and the green room bagels.